Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the new Star Wars, the Black Series Kylo Ren 6-inch figure. This is a really beautiful, really articulated figure made by Hasbro. These are the collector grade models for Star Wars fans. Not the 3 3/4 inch, though they do look good. If you're a collector and you want something really awesome with a lot of articulation and detail, this is the line to get your figures from. So let's take a look at the box. So for the Force Awakens, Hasbro switched up the packaging for the Black Series. Here's an example of the older version of the packaging. This is the prototype armor Boba Fett, and you can see that now there's a new red background. The text is now in red instead of blue, and they also number the figures on the side as well as give a bigger picture of the figure instead of that small little circle picture at the top. So let's take Boba out of there. Now, continuing on, we have the Star Wars logo at the top, and it says the Black Series. We have Kylo Ren, ages 4 and up, a warning label, the Hasbro logo. They number Kylo Ren, number 3. And then on the back here, it has the Star Wars The Black Series logo once again, number 3. And then it says Kylo Ren, a dark warrior strong with the Force. Kylo Ren commands the First Order missions with a temper as fiery as his unconventional lightsaber. And we see that throughout the film, especially with the one scene where he completely destroys one of the control rooms. Now right here we have that same picture from the front, just bigger. And then we have some other stuff that nobody really cares about running along the bottom here and on the bottom of the box itself. So let's get this figure out of its packaging. So the great thing about these new Star Wars figures is mainly with the 3 3/4 inch 2-packs and Armor Up figures as well as the Black Series is that when you open the figures up, there's just a little bit of tape at the top there, and you can take it off without damaging the packaging whatsoever, and you can later put your figure back in the packaging. If you're a collector, that's something you might want to do, maybe display your figure for a little while and then put it back in. So I already cut the tape at the top, and here comes Kylo. And he looks pretty good. So the first thing you'll notice after taking Kylo out of the packaging is that he's kind of front heavy. He doesn't stand right away. You kind of have to get him in that sweet spot. As you can see here, I have him in a kneeling position, and the amount of articulation definitely helps with all the different poses you can put this figure in, which is great because articulation is fantastic when you're having a collector's item. So looking at the way this figure is made, he has a bunch of soft goods, especially on the cape area. He has a bit of hard rubber, like right here. It's not really that pliable, but it's kind of a rubber plastic feel, especially on the legs here and on this part of his cape. And then you have the regular hard plastic. It's not really, anything special, just in his arms and his helmet, and especially in his lightsaber and legs. So the way they painted this figure also looks fantastic. You can see in some colors they had the matte black here, and in others they did kind of a gloss, especially on his legs. You can see on his boots and going up to about right there. They kind of gave it a glossy feel, which looks awesome overall. I really appreciate the amount of detail Hasbro put into this figure. It's kind of satisfactory. They didn't do so much to it. They didn't make it look really realistic. They kind of just gave it the satisfactory, decent looking feel to it. They could have added some gloss in the eye range. I think that would have looked nice, and maybe even around the helmet itself. And the silver around the helmet could have actually been more of a chrome look to it. But it's okay. It's decent. It's not fantastic, but it's not bad either. So you can also take down his hood by just, pulling it down like that. It doesn't always stick down. You kind of have to keep pressing it down, but I prefer to keep it up anyway. Now, this part of his cape is kind of a rubber texture, and you can see I can pull it back and kind of move it around. It's kind of like a thin plastic rubber feeling. It doesn't really make much of a difference whether that was a hard plastic or a rubber, but it looks cool that they kind of added the different types of plastic and soft goods to the figure itself. Now his arms are all plastic, same with his helmet, and I forgot to show you guys the amount of articulation with the helmet. All you can do really is move it from side to side. Because of the soft goods, you can't move it in a 360, and you can't really move his helmet up and down. Now with his arms, he has 3 points of articulation, one in the wrist, one in the elbow, and one in the arm itself. So you can see I can pull his arm out like this, I can move his elbow like that, and then also twist his wrist, and you can just really get it in any position you really choose to if you want. And that's the great thing about articulation, is that you can pose your figure any way. Unlike Hasbro's 3 3/4 inch, which only has 5 points of articulation, this one actually gives you a lot of posing options. So with his other arm, it's the same exact thing. You can just pull it out like this, move his elbow, move his wrist, and you can get him to swing his lightsaber around if you want, moving it down and moving it in and out. That's the cool thing with the posability, like I was saying before. Now, his torso is soft goods, but it is a hard plastic if you feel it. It's just covering the hard plastic. And his belt is more of a rubber texture, just like this part of his cape in the back. His belt actually looks really nice, as well as it's kind of like the same quality as his helmet there. Not really fantastic, but what more can you do with a belt, really? And then after the belt, it just goes right on to the soft goods, and that covers most of his legs. And then you can come down here and see he has more rubber kind of protection, I guess, more armor. I'm not really sure what you would call that. I don't think it's part of his cape. And then you can pull that aside to see the part of his legs. His legs are really nicely sculpted. It's got a lot of wrinkles and detail there in his pants. Same with his arms, but his arms are more of an armor feel than his legs are. And then his boots and pretty much up to there on his leg, that's also considered his boot right there. Those are really nicely done. They have kind of a gloss feel and just really show the texture that they sculpted onto this figure. You can bend him at the knee, also up here at the thigh, and then on his foot itself, you can actually get it to go in any position you want. You can even twist the foot around like it's broken or something. So here's his lightsaber, and if I'm being honest, it doesn't really have that much detail to it in terms of the blade itself. The actual handle grip and everything looks really nice, as you can see there. It's got a lot of detail, lots of different colors. It's got some red and yellow in there, and of course the grays and blacks. And that part looks really awesome. However, when you take a look at the blade itself, it kind of seems really plastic-like to me. It doesn't have more of a translucent feel like this one here. This one I actually think is better than the Black Series version. That's saying a lot. And it just kind of seems like a cheap plastic here. It's not really that great. It's not translucent. It's kind of just, you know, crap quality in my opinion. But you can stick the lightsaber in both of his hands. Let's see how that goes. Stick it in this one easily. And then that's his main fighting hand. And then this one, I think you can also put it in. Kind of difficult to get it in because of his hand grip position, but yeah, you can also put it in there. It feels a little bit tighter when you put it in that hand, which I think might be better. He's got more of a grip on it, but his dominant hand with his lightsaber is obviously this one right here. You can just stick that in and get him to maneuver his lightsaber, which is really awesome. That's what the articulation's for, is pretty much to, you know, get him to swing his lightsaber anywhere you want. So should you buy this figure? The answer is yes. I mean, the Black Series line is fantastic. Anything from the Black Series was really worth picking up, and Kylo is no exception. I have to give Kylo a 9 out of 10 because, like I said before, I'm not that big of a fan with his lightsaber, and I think they could have added a little bit more detail to his helmet. But this figure is really nice, really detailed, fully articulated, and it's just a great addition to anybody's Star Wars collection. So guys, let us know in the comments down below what you guys think of this figure, and stay tuned for more Jurassic Park and Star Wars reviews. May the Force be with you.